It's actually not SOL anymore. It's actually sold. SOLD. Same old Lions, differently. Get your hands out of the oven until it's fully baked.
The moment was too big, and that was my fear. All the chips are in the middle of the table, and it showed.
This will test the perseverance. You don't think he's sitting there today with probably another double espresso because he's trying to be better. What I learned again, right, is the clock that I have, right, where we finally played through 20 games and stuff like this. It's like a plant. It's like a recipe. It's like your favorite cake. You can't pull it out of the oven, and this is what I was going to say to Terry, is get your hands out of the oven until it's fully baked, because the one thing, Neil, that I figured out, it's not the same old Lions. It's actually not SOL anymore. It's actually sold. SOLD. Same old Lions, differently. Right? That's what it is. It's sold. Same old Lions, differently. But the one thing, and I'm not glass half full or half empty. It's always refillable. And the refillable part is I saw things that were different. It looked like at different points I said to myself, wow, we actually might have an NFL football team. The question now is, do we have an NFL football coach? And I think you and I talking about, is Dan Campbell, can he coach in this league or whatever? It's finding out the same things. And the only good thing is his accountability that I liked right away. But Sam Flannel mentioned it last night on the 3rd and 1 is where it started. We don't have a luxury of not only making bad coaching decisions, but we don't have a luxury of having anybody hurt. And that's a whole different discussion too. I liked a lot of things I saw yesterday. I hated a lot of things that I saw. But again, folks, we're sitting here with the ability in the first quarter of the season, which Terry Foster told us that a lot of great teams break the season down into quarters, is if we win a game that we are supposed to win at home against Seattle on Sunday, we will be 2-2. Forget how we got here. The fact is that's the reality of it. We got to move forward. Now there's a lot of other questions to be answered, but it's disappointing because defeat was grasped out of the mouth of victory yesterday.
And I think that is a good way to put it. Remember, you can get involved on our woodwardsports.com chat thread that we have going on. We'll take those comments from you guys in real time. I know you guys have a lot to say. Certainly everybody has had a lot to say, really, with everything that's been going on. And for me, guys, look, usually we do like the weekend chit chat and how was your weekend and stuff like that. But that day is not today. It is not today, because I went through a lot of emotions watching this football game the same way you guys all did. And for me, some things remained consistent though, D-Mac, because what have I said? What was my question? I don't have questions about Brad Holmes anymore.
No.
I've tasted the recipes. I like it. It tastes good. I got no questions about him.
So if we start right there, what I saw yesterday is that if we are healthy and we have our best players on the field, we are a good football team. It seems like we can have that. But, you're losing guys sort of left and right. Obviously, DeAndre Swift, you could see him come up hobbled with the ankle, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is as durable, and how many times did Brady Quinn say that Dan Campbell refers to him as a pit bull, right? Stuff like this. Josh Reynolds, who is really Mr. Reliable. And, when we talk later about different plays in the game that sort of broke down, but you're losing guys left and right, the durability. So these guys can play, but they can't play hurt. And I think that the ineffectiveness sort of Aiden Hutchinson is that as good as you are as a second overall pick and show flashes, that you have to be healthy like anybody else in this league. And, that doesn't even go down to the coaching decisions. So, you could say same old Lions. I know Terry would say, I could see him if he's sitting in his chair going, it's the same old Lions. It's the same old Lions. But it's different. Same old Lions differently.
And that's fine, but that's just a fancier way of saying both things can be true.
Well, yeah. But to your point, Brad Holmes, I think we can move him, and then you can get into this the books and the salary cap. But the question,
my question will be, can he coach in this league? And when I say can you coach in this league, I'm not talking about guys buying in. I'm not talking about press conferences and stuff like that. I'm talking about when you're playing a game where all the chips are in the middle of the table, i.e. a divisional game, when your record's 1-1, with a chance to make a move and to do something, and it's the fourth quarter, and you're up 3, you're down 3. We saw what it was, and he went against the fabric of what he is. That's my biggest concern, problem, whatever you want to call it. That's the biggest issue for me. He went against his makeup, because I know when I was sitting there watching that football game, I said, you have an opportunity to go win this game, to go win it. Right. And he usually does that.
It looked like
twice he got away from that.
No, he did. And the one thing is do you see him making the same mistakes? Recurring mistake. The one thing is that he's going to be here for the clock that I have for the 18 games. You just don't want him making the same mistakes over and over again. But as aggressive as we are on fourth down, and if that's your identity as your offensive line, I have a question. Like, I was going to save this, but isn't 4th and 4, right? When you have the ball, the same as that position there, and they had the timeout, and forget, how they didn't use the clock and ran a couple plays, before the 2-minute. But was that situation there when you're making a decision just the same as if you were down on the road going for a 2-point conversion with a chance with the ball in your hand to win the game? To me, that situation, 4th and 4, if you have your guys and you make that first down, which winning teams do, you win. Right? When that's
one play to win.
To be right. When you have control of that. That's like deferring. That's when somebody says, okay, heads or tails, you get the call and you defer you choose. Right? That's what it felt like. And then you're gonna defer it to not, you're not the Bucks or you're not the Bills or the team. You defer to your strength and your defense. Just so many questions. But can he bounce back from it? Like I said earlier, I like the fact that he was accountable when he stepped up to the podium. But we're gonna have to see this. Like I said, it's sold. Same old lines differently.
And I'm not calling for the man's job right now, but I am concerned. But I was concerned. I'm being consistent here. I think that's fair. If you want to jump up and down and say, hey, you got to let him feel it out. You got to let him figure it out.
Is it fair to say
it's fair? It's fair that I have that concern.
But he showed you that the concerns that you had going into the game about his coaching ability were exemplified. Would you not say?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So to Brad Holmes' check mark, this just put more question mark on the coaching ability, not the motivation ability, not the practice, the schemes, the Ben Johnsons. It's the availability, but to the fact, can he flat out make the correct coaching decision?
Right, and again, you guys know where I stand, right? You got Penei Sewell driving guys 8 yards down the field into the end zone on touchdown runs and stuff like that. T.J. Lang, former Lions player, tweeting yesterday, Penei Sewell's playing like a top 3 right tackle this year, and he's 21 years old. Like, I'm on Ross St. Brown. I think we know what we you know what I'm saying? Like, and this is Brad Holmes, so I don't have an issue with Brad Holmes. I do, however, have an issue with going away from your identity and what you do. And everyone's getting caught up in the field goal thing. And look, is it the way that I would have thought Dan Campbell would have went? No. I thought that was kind of defensive when you start breaking down the analytics. I mean, Seibert hasn't made a field goal.
Forget the analytics. I think the fact the door was open and their own home kicker kicked that way 2 times, and show me a ball that doesn't pull right. Like,
right.
Until you show me somebody to make one going that way, and the fact that it would have been his career long. Come on.
That's my point. I kind of like my chances picking up a 4th and 4 more.
It's not Prater.
Yeah. And when you factor it all in, right? If you do convert the 4th and 4, you win the game. That's
over. What I'm saying. Like, and if your offensive
there's a lot of
line
risk reward to things, the ultimate reward is you win the football game.
So to answer my question, is that not like when teams are on the road and they are down by a point, or they tie instead of going to tie it and go to overtime because the analytics tell you that road teams in overtime, whatever, so they go for the 2-point conversion. They keep the ball in their hands. That's what you want to That's what you want to do. And I would have, yeah, we could be here today going, okay, they don't convert. They get the ball there and they come down. You still got to stop a guy. You still can't let a guy run free in your backfield.
Right. But, I mean, we know the issues back there. But anyway, all that being said, here's what I'm here for today. In our WoodwardSports.com chat thread, Fred Dow says, y'all need to chill on Campbell no matter what he did. You all are going to complain if they lost. And Fred, no. Because if they go for it, they don't get it. Minnesota comes down and scores. He's being true to his identity and what he's done before. If he does that, it shows me the moment's not too big for him. I got the impression the moment was too big, and that was my fear.
Hey.
When you come in here and division games and first place through 3 games in the division are on the line, that's all the chips. All the chips are in the middle of the table, and it showed. He didn't handle it well.
Well, you know what? The lights got too bright for me and us at a certain time earlier in my career before we figured it out. And
is that true, D-Mac? Looking back, is that true? Were the lights too bright? Does that happen?
I don't think you think it at the time, but you learn from your mistakes. I mean, I always say that if we don't go in and get embarrassed and lose and swept by Jersey in 95 and then set the league record, and you get tested. This will test the perseverance. You don't think he's sitting there today with probably another double espresso, sitting there an extra coffee because he's trying to be better, But at that point, if you ask him, and I think he's man enough to just say that that's his responsibility, and if he looks back,
and
the moment was too big.
And that's fine.
Improve on it. So do we see some? But that's the whole thing. So do we see some? What can he do about it now? He can only improve on it and make sure he goes out and has this team with whoever is healthy, ready to play and to win this game in Seattle.
Yeah,
against Seattle.
And now we go back to it, right, guys? And I told you this because this stuff is fluid. Now your season's on the line again.
Yeah, but that's the way it is.
Your season's on the line again in the Seattle game. You're favored to win. You better go out there and win. This is how the fluidity works. This is why this is so big. And when you have that opportunity, you got to capitalize on it. You have to.
Right. I see in the chat comments somebody saying Scotty Bowman, where were looking as Dave Lewis, Dan Campbell. No, Dave Lewis was more Jim Caldwell. Right. Dan Campbell, and I wouldn't even he's more of a motivator. It's just something that we're gonna have to go through these ebbs and flows. But if he's gonna become a great coach, you're gonna go through these moments, I would expect. How does he bounce back from it? Life's all about how you battle adversity. It doesn't even matter in his sports. That's true too. So spotlight is even more on him that he doesn't. What's he going to do? Because he's going to be in this position again because they're not, like you said, nobody's calling for his job. Even if you're calling for it, you're not getting it with what it is. So are we going to see improvement?
Concerned, and I think that's fair.
Just like we want to see guys hold on to the ball and guys run routes and Hawk catch the ball and all this stuff, we want to see our coaches coach better.